All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Get ready. This summer, the Arena League Sports is on ASAP Network. Tune in live on either the Tiki Live or Roku app, as well as your smart home TV.
And we are live here on Real Talk in this lovely evening. We got a ton of NBA action going on. So definitely exciting for you all to join us. Thank you so much. As y'all saw, we got some big stuff coming here on the ASAP Network. But before we get into tonight's action in the NBA, I want to shout out to the fellas, Freddie and Kenny. Kenny, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Always good to be on, with some people that know sports, and then some people we have to educate on sports. So, it's good to be here.
ASAP Network.
Love to hear it. Yeah, we got a familiar yet unfamiliar face. He's been missing in action, kind of like the Lakers offense and defense here recently. So Freddie, I see you've the celebration is worn off of your Rams team.
Oh, please,
and now your other team in LA is the focus. So Freddie, how you feeling tonight?
I'm wonderful, gentlemen. Always glad when I can see you wonderful gentlemen. I get to see Kenny. I get to see you, Ray. Don't make me go put this T-shirt on, because I have this.
Please do not.
You got a Lakers T-shirt you want to wear?
Yes, that's the only thing you want to see.
So you got a Lakers T-shirt you want to wear?
Yeah, right.
I wear that 24/7. I wear that in the winter. I wear that
not your fly by night lately.
I can't tell. I don't think I've seen Freddie in anything Lakers in a while.
You have not, and we understand why.
You got a Russell Westbrook shirt, an Anthony Davis shirt.
Oh no!
Russell Westbrook got a clothing line. You're not supporting your man's clothing line?
Hey, he's focused more on his clothing line than his jump shot.
I mean, he's shooting about the same percentage, so it seemed like it's business as usual.
Exactly.
No?
Just fake news.
All right. Well, if you decide to change your mind and actually support your team, who's actually playing right now,
hey, I support him.
We'd love to see the apparel.
It depends on the time of the year,
right? I don't want to see no Lakers stuff if they go on a run. Like, where's the Lakers stuff at now? And we know they ain't, but they bullying LeBron at home.
I'm going to tell you how much support I have. When we was winning 15, 17, 29 games in school, I was in school. I would stay up every night to watch them lose. Robert Sacre, Ryan Kelly, Jordan Clarkson, Kyrie Black. I remember them days. So don't ever question
some names. So in other words, your Lakers fandom is legitimate. Your Rams, on the other hand, that's a whole nother story.
Kenny, my Rams fandom is because I was born in LA. I was born in California.
Yeah.
I was a Giants fan, I will admit. But the Giants
this season
did bad business. So I, as a fan, as doing the right thing, disowned them and went to my hometown team. That's what happened.
Great. So before you get a chance to jump on another bandwagon, Philadelphia, they completed the trade. Many people on this network, I think, felt Brooklyn won the deal, were tepid in our assessment of the trade. But 2 games in, James Harden has lost about 30 pounds magically. His
I need what
hamstring.
he's on.
His hamstring is not a problem any longer. He's setting Philadelphia records. I saw a stat that says he has tied or passed Ben Simmons on the all-time three-point list for Philadelphia 76ers in his two games.
Too soon.
So it appears to be off to a great start. They had an interesting dynamic in their post-game press conference. And Joel Embiid, probably front runner for MVP right now. So, fellas, right now, what are your thoughts on what you see out of Philly and how far can they go? Freddie, let's start with you.
Okay. Joel Embiid. I'm going to say this before I say this. I'm not comparing this guy to him. I'm not at all. I'm just using this analogy, okay? Joel Embiid finally got his Kobe. A big man need that Kobe, need that Penny, need that D Wade, need that Allen Iverson beside him to win in the NBA, and he got that. The only thing I question about this team, and I believe Maxey, to see him change his game the way he have. I know it's been 2 games, but he's looked great in this as well, just like Joel Embiid. But where is the shooting going to come from? That's the only question that I have about this team. And when we get to the postseason, what form of James Harden will we see? Because, James Harden, he put up a lot of sexy numbers. He's always have since he's been in the NBA. He's been putting up these, 30-point triple-double here. He can put up big numbers. But what are you going to do, James, when it matters? You have to show up this playoffs, not next year, this one, because you didn't want to wait on Kyrie Irving. You left Kevin Durant, who can close in big games. We've seen him do it many of times. You chose that. So the pressure's on your shoulders even more now. Because this is the second time you force yourself out of a team within 2 years. But Kenny's going to love this, what I'm about to say. But Philadelphia, don't start feeling yourself, because there's one team up there in New York, and I've really been looking at their roster. And if things finally start getting together, I'm hearing the mayor of New York supposed to be lifting that mandate. And what does that mean? Kyrie Irving go from a part-time player to a full-time player. Kevin Durant will be back. And whenever Ben Simmons, he gonna play after they play Philadelphia. He just don't want to play in Philadelphia. That's all that is. They did pick up Dragic. That's a pretty big pickup. They still got Patty Mills. You picked up size and girth and Andre Drummond. We always said they need a big man. They got it. I believe they got Joe Johnson. They got Blake Griffin.
Harris.
Huh?
Joe Harris.
No. Who they have another? No, he went to the Mavericks. My bad. You do have LaMarcus Aldridge.
They got James Johnson.
Yeah.
James Johnson.
You have Blake Griffin. Joe Harris he might come back. And you got a Curry. Anybody last name Curry can shoot that ball. I mean, so hey, Brooklyn's deep, bro. Hey, and I'm not sure if Philadelphia's ready for that, because hey, they are deep, and in 7 games we seen what Kevin Durant did by himself against Milwaukee.
So, as it sounds like you're saying, you like what you see out of Philly, but if they run into Brooklyn, they're not advancing. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Just want you on the record. Kenny, what you think of Philly so far?
I think this is just the quote unquote honeymoon period. So everybody's happy. It's kumbaya. Everybody loves each other. And, they're off to a great start. I think what Freddie talked about a little bit. I think what Harden is doing, early is making the game easy for Joel Embiid. In that pick and roll, he's just rolling hard to the basket, and James is finding them, and he's just not having to initiate offense for himself. He's actually has somebody that's going to make plays for him. And I think as well as score the ball. I think that's what the difference is, between, of course, Ben Simmons and James Harden. James Harden is more of an offensive threat. Ben Simmons has the playmaking ability, but he just doesn't have the offensive talent that James Harden has. But I think Freddie made a great point. I think as well as they're looking right now, when they made this deal, they really compromised their depth. So, you have to make sure that Joel Embiid stays healthy, and two, stays out of foul trouble, because you lost that depth behind him when you traded Andre Drummond to Brooklyn. So they're a little compromised in terms of their front court depth. And they, as well as another playmaker. And right now, the other thing is that Tobias Harris, since James Harden has got to town, he's been struggling. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to figure that piece of it out too, because they're going to need him to score the ball. You got to have that third. You got to have that third piece to the puzzle. So, while everything is going well, and they won their 2 games, we can't get too crazy because they beat the Timberwolves and the Knicks, and we know how bad the Knicks are right now. So, that's a topic for later on in the show. But I think they're off to a good start. I think that you can see, James Harden's skill set fits with Joel Embiid, and you have that guard and big man tandem that potentially can make a deep playoff run. But I think the question is, in terms of depth, as they go further on, and as we get into the playoffs, how are they going to be able to respond if, they have to rely on their depth? That's going to be the question, I think, going
Chris forward. Robinson, I'm always right. Remember that, sir. I try to keep telling you that. These two won't listen, but maybe
you was doing so good, and then you just had to go off the rails.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll say a couple other things in this episode that will not be right, because you're Freddie, and that's what Freddie does.
That's what you do.
No, I agree. It's early. I will say I've been pleasantly surprised, especially, Kenny, I think you mentioned Maxi's performance. He's played really well. Mm-hmm. I do see, and I kind of expected, what is his name? Tobias Harris to kind of fall off a bit. Because they're running a lot of pick and roll,
exactly,
with either Harden or Maxey, and Harris is best with the ball in his hands, and you're not going to have that when you got Harden and Embiid that need the ball in their hands, and they're just flat out better players. So I think Tobias is going to have to take a Chris Bosh, Kevin Lovish role to work with these two. I don't know if he's as good of a shooter as either one of those in the mid range or from deep. So he's going to have to kind of get in where he fits in. I think as a max player, I would like to believe he has the cachet to go to them and be like, hey, I know y'all are the stars, but still get me my touches early, get me involved in the game, and we'll kind of see what happens there. Chris, you also are very, very right. You said Doc is terrible. I don't think I would go terrible.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
Is he great though?
But he's not great.
Because I have a problem with him being in this top 15 coaches of all time.
But I think he's good though. Let's not say he's not a good coach. Or maybe not a great coach, but he's a good coach.
I think he's a middle of the pack coach. I think if you give most teams the talent he has over his tenure, it's pretty hard to mess it up. So I don't think that I can't look back to a season like, oh yeah, they went on a roll. He grossly overperformed with that talent. I think he's been about on par or below par in some of the 3-1 leads he's blown and things like that. That somehow he managed to duck all that criticism, which as a black coach, I don't want to kill him too much, but you got to get it done.
He's won a championship and he's been a perennial playoff coach. So I think that's part of the reason why.
Right. And with that talent, how could you not? Like, what team would you say Doc had that shouldn't have been in the playoffs?
But that's the whole point, is that when you're consistent, then your teams perform consistently. Maybe not, on the playoffs, maybe not so much in the playoffs, because we could kind of equate this to Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's always been consistently good in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, then he's had his moments where hasn't gotten it done. So I could say the same thing about Doc Rivers. He's been consistently in terms of the regular season. Then he's had moments in the playoffs where he just hadn't gotten it done. We don't ever say that Aaron Rodgers isn't a great player. I'm just saying that Doc is a good coach. So, but that's my opinion.
Fair enough. Well, in the playoffs, I think is when it matters.
No,
but
and for sure. And the other part is, too, that, to your point about Tobias Harris, it's going to be on Doc Rivers and as well as James Harden to create opportunities for him to score. Whether it's using him whether it's using him off, putting him in lineups with the bench unit and making him the featured, player with the bench guys, or, just calling some sets for him to be able to make it happen and calling, things for him to be able to score in certain, spots on the court. So that's all part of coaching in terms of putting them in position to be successful. So they're going to figure that part out.
Okay. So overall, I think we're optimistic, but we're tepid in our praise for Philly. Ultimately, I think it's good for basketball. I hope they both in all stay healthy. I think that's important in this equation as well. Is Embiid played great all year? Can he continue to play great? And can he continue to stay healthy? So I think there will be a load that's taken off, but if for whatever reason Harden or Embiid was to get into foul trouble, or they're not both on the court, I think that's where you're really going to see potentially problems that they're going to face, because Harris, I don't know if he's the guy. And I think we saw that it might have been even in the New York game when Embiid went out, and I think New York went on a run when it was just Harden, and it got close, and then they kind of put it away at the end. So it'll be interesting to see. But Jay, we got a jump in on Jay here.
I was trying, man. Hey, I was in the car when I seen this come up in the thing. I'm like, damn, I wonder if I can make it there in time. But I can't text and drive because then that'd be wrong. So
yeah, we don't want you breaking the law.
No, we don't want to break the law. Hey, real quick though, hey, that whole Embiid, I think it's gonna be amazing. I think Harden has been waiting for a guy like Embiid. To be honest with you, but he wanted it with Durant. I think he really did, but Durant just couldn't stay healthy. So I think he just kind of wore out the welcome there. But, man, like you said, if Embiid can stay healthy, that's a hell of a 1-2 punch, because I don't think Harden's going to have a problem sharing the rock. And I think that it's going to take some of the pressure off Embiid. And that's a hell of you got an outside shooter, you got an inside paint scorer, rebounder. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal if they can just stay healthy.
Yeah, they make the game easier for each other in the long term. That pick and roll is just deadly because
it's hard to guard. We've seen it's been real hard to guard that. But as it stands, and I was trying to pull it up really quickly, Philadelphia is the 3 seed. So, Jay, where do you have Philly ending the year in the conference rankings, and how far do you see them going?
I was really holding back saying that they could do anything really, because I wanted to see how Harden was going to, number one, come off that injury, and number two, how was he going to look? And I think he kind of answered some questions. I wrote down the numbers he put down was pretty damn good for his first 3 games back. He had, I think, Minnesota, which is playing really good ball right now. He did, and I think Minnesota's the number 7 seed. He did 35 minutes, 27, 8, and 12. And then against New York, he put up 39 minutes. So his minutes are great. Like, he's put up great minutes. And then so far, I haven't heard anything bad about it. No, nothing with his legs or any kind of issues.
Jay, it was nothing wrong with his hamstring.
Just like Charles.
There probably wasn't. Hey, listen, I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt.
You don't go. You don't go. You don't want me to give him the hamstring. You don't play 35 minutes. 35 plus minutes in 2 games right out there.
And then he played, and then it gets better. He played 39 against New York. So he actually
went up. Saying.
And he scored a damn triple-double at 29, 10, and 16. 41%. I mean, let me say this. But he has lost some weight. So do you think it was a ruse? Do you think the whole Nets situation was a ruse, and that he was just lurking to get to a better one?
Jay,
he's done it twice now.
He got a fat suit on?
He's done that twice, where he looked out of shape in Houston, and then he showed up in Brooklyn like a brand new man.
That's true. Hey, I agree.
What he's doing. Like, I don't know if I don't know. He's getting like reverse.
Charles Barkley say, I bet he played. You bet he played now.
Right. Yeah, I know.
What's amazing? But he went for a very long period of time in Houston with no injuries at all. That whole injury thing never really occurred to him until he got to Brooklyn.
Now, I want to say this, you guys.
He didn't have any issues with Houston for a long period of time.
I want to say this, you guys. because a lot of people for the longest had, they've always had MJ, they had Kobe, you had D Wade, and Allen Iverson in the mix, but they always want to find a way to put Harden in that conversation. And I'm gonna say this: if he want to be put in those guys category, the
Harden
stuff
and
that he
Harden
pulled
and
off.
MJ are Kobe's category. You
Well,
can't.
I'm talking about in the
I
shooting
wouldn't
guard.
put him in that category.
I'm talking
But,
about
yeah.
the shooting guard. I mean, I've heard it. I've heard
him
people
as a
say,
top 5 shooting guard.
Yeah, close to D
Wow,
Wade.
that's a lot of good company to be talking about, though.
But
He's had a great run for what it's worth.
I agree.
The knock on Harden is
Regular
pretty
season.
much he disappears in the playoffs.
I agree.
That's our knock on him.
I believe this is going to be a bigger knock than any of that if he don't win a championship the way he got out of Houston and the way he got out of Brooklyn. I believe that's going to come down on him hard if he don't win.
No, he's put a tremendous target on his back.
He really has.
Because, like you said, he's manipulated both of those situations to get out of them. So, and this is what you wanted, it was all smiles and hugs and everything is, everything is roses right now. And you have laughing and having a good time. You and Embiid, doing press conference together and the whole bit. So it's got to work. No excuses now.
Hey, you know what though, Kenny? I blame Kim Kardashian for James Harden. I love Kim Kardashian. She's a beautiful woman. Nothing wrong against Kim. Nothing against Kim, but let's be honest. Kenny, when he got with Kim in Houston, there were two different Hardens. There was pre-Kim and post-Kim. And post-Kim was never as good as pre-Kim. I don't know what she did to him, but that Kardashian clan did something to Harden. Let me be honest.
Jay, don't mess with the Kardashian. This what
I think she introduced him to the yak.
The Kardashian. That's what happened. Don't mess with the Kardashian.
Hey, Kim got him on that yak, and he's never been the same.
I mean, Tristan Thompson been playing pretty well. So,
can I ask y'all a question? I got a question, y'all.
Go ahead.
So, y'all watched the All-Star game? I haven't talked to y'all since the All-Star game. Y'all watched it, right?
Yep.
Did y'all watch the national anthem?
I did not.
I did not catch that. Who sang the national?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Was it Macy Gray?
Yeah, I heard
he was going just right here. I'm not making fun of him. I promise y'all, but it's so funny. I was just laughing the whole time. Oh, say can you? I was like, is she on drugs? She had this twitch about her, man. She just kept twitching. Like,
no.
And then you can see there's a video going on LeBron. LeBron trying to hold himself back from laughing. Like, it was like,
that made me laugh. Yeah.
So, I mean, she did like this. Yes.
And wait, who was singing?
Macy Gray.
I'm gonna have to go YouTube this one so I can see what he's talking about.
It was bad. It was probably worse than Fergie. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh God, Fergie was terrible. Fergie was terrible. So if that's worse than Fergie, damn.
Yeah, that's saying a lot.
Right, but guys, and speaking of terrible,
next topic, please.
There's Freddie's team.
Perfect segue, Ray.
And LA has been downright terrible. I alluded to it earlier. Could you imagine a day? And if I'm wrong, Freddie, you can correct me. Did Kobe get booed in LA when he was there?
Yeah, I think
he did once when.
Yeah, in those lean years when they were really bad, like
Kobe was getting
earlier with those.
He got booed. He got booed out the year that he was talking about. He wanted to leave, whatever, that one time. But other than
that, really wasn't about his play. I think, like you said, I do remember that. I think it was about him possibly leaving.
Chris Simmons and Smush Parker, Sasha Rudic.
But he wasn't playing with other Hall of Famers when he was getting booed.
Well, I'm just saying, I think he got booed during that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you can't look. That's the year that the Lakers could not get a free agent to sign with them for nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, they were having a hard time.
And I just want to pull this up, and I wish we had the audio for it. I'm not going to go back and search for it.
I don't know where you're going.
I've been on this network for a while, and I've seen a lot of shows. And there was a time earlier in this year when I made a statement that the LA Clippers would have a better record than the Los Angeles Lakers. I said that months ago, and I got laughed at. People told me I was crazy. But as it currently stands, the Clippers are 5 games up in the win column. 5 games up And they've been playing without Kawhi Leonard all year.
And Paul George.
And without Paul George almost all year. The Lakers have managed to play with Russ every game but one. LeBron the majority of the year. And AD's played more than Paul George has. So, Freddie, can you tell me how big of a disaster are the Los Angeles Lakers? And is this Lakers team the worst performing superstar collaboration ever?
Man, I wish Dr. J. Bus was alive right about now. I really, really, really do. I mean, it's y'all. It's hard to watch them, man. I tell you, last night I told y'all before coming on here, I was watching the game with my mom, and I said I would not be surprised if they find a way to lose this game. And guess what happened? They found a way to get embarrassed. I mean, it's time for them to shut LeBron down for the season.
Wow.
LeBron was playing deep into the fourth quarter. So he's not apparently getting shut down.
Don't bother to bring AD back and just let him.
So you saying just tank it on out, Freddie?
I mean, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point of playing? I mean,
right now you're in the playing tournament.
Yeah, but you know what? It's one thing about.
Somebody says, "Hey, the Lakers are still there." They're like, "How in the hell?"
But Kenny, when you have bad habits, it's hard to get out of those bad habits.
We had bad picks.
When you go down,
free agent picks.
When you go down, when you let the go up, let the other team go about 15, 20 points. This is what the Lakers do. They'll go down 15, 20 points in the first half, and the third quarter they come back out swinging, and they'll get close, and then they'll lose the game. That's what the majority of their games turn out to be.
Freddie, I would like to present to you some facts, some Freddie-ish facts.
Oh, here we go.
What if I told you that LeBron James and Russell Westbrook combined had 4 assists last night? Freddie, do you have any idea?
14 turnovers.
They probably had like 11, 14 turnovers between the two themselves.
14 combined, 7 apiece. LeBron James had more turnovers by himself than him and Russ, the primary ball handlers, had assists in the entire game.
It's horrible.
They were minus 22, LeBron, minus 26 for Russell Westbrook. Brandon Ingram was a plus 29. Freddie, can you explain to me how the Lakers are performing at this level?
Well, I'm just going to say this, and I haven't been on here since the All-Star break. LeBron had made quite a few different comments, and the agent tried to cover it up. I don't care about that. That's their job to cover it up. But LeBron, if you're not happy in LA, we can help you with that. We can help you with that, bro.
Oh.
I mean, I'm just being honest.
Oh, so he could go? Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're saying?
If he wants to go this offseason.
I don't like this version of Freddie. It's like watching somebody defeated.
No, let him cook. I need to hear that.
I like where it's going.
We good.
It's sad. It breaks my heart.
Not only Russell Westbrook, because he's gone. He done already rode his ticket on out of here. We can add a LeBron James too.
Also, wait, what about AD?
I'm not done yet. Anthony Davis, I love you, bro. Hey, one of my favorite players when you playing, you helped. I love to watch because I know how dominant you can be, but you like glass. This Russell Westbrook and AD should create a podcast called Ass and Glass. Ass and Glass podcast. Because that's what they are. That's what they are. Ass and gas. Ass and glass.
Let me ask you this: Is it time for Pelinka to go and maybe bring in a different general manager?
You know why? It's because, and I'm about to go down Genie Lane. I'm about to just hold on.
That's what I think the issue is personally.
Hold on, Jay,
in that upper level management.
Hold on. But LeBron, this is purple and gold. This LA, bro. This is not Cleveland. One championship don't get the job done. One championship, and I got ticked off the All-Star weekend. They had the Laker legend, had the nerve to be LeBron to be in there. the standards have got lowered.
Oh, so he's not even a Laker legend now?
No, how with one championship?
That's true, Kenny. I would never
I'm
call
just
LeBron
saying,
a Laker legend.
I mean,
the team was trash, and he got them a ring. He don't get
But
he don't get no props for that.
But Kenny,
You can't go down a legend with one ring. One ring just don't get it done.
Our standard of sports have dropped lower tremendously. I remember going up what Kobe had to go through to put himself in those type of conversations.
But don't you think it's more so based off of his entire career as opposed to
it
just
shouldn't be
career?
though. It should be when you talk about Laker legends. It
But I'm
shouldn't
just
be.
saying, and don't
It's
you
not
think
about
that's why
what
they
you
put him in
did.
there for
Because guess
that?
what? When we talk about Kareem, we don't mention anything about the championship in Milwaukee. We're talking about Laker.
Yeah, because the majority of his career was in LA. I get it.
Exactly. And the majority of LeBron's career in LA, guess what?
He just hasn't played long enough in LA and had enough success in LA. I mean, one ring is great, but it's not enough success to qualify as a Laker legend. As basketball, that's a whole other.
Yeah,
When we're talking about just
I
a
get
specific
that.
team,
I
though,
get that.
you got to have some time in with that team.
We'll be okay if it was two, but one, come on, bro. And so, hey, LeBron, man, hey, you talking about you want to play with your son. Hell, do we know your son gonna make it? I mean, the dude averaged 6 points a game. That's no knock against Bronny, but I mean that's the truth. That's facts. I mean, and you'll be
people want Bronny to be the next LeBron, and I kind of wonder how that's going to work out for Bronny coming into the league under his dad's shadow. Like, how's that going to work out for him? Because you got to admit, there's a tremendous amount of pressure that's going to be put on him to be the next Jordan.
Next you'll be in year 22. What peak condition will you be in? We don't know. There's a lot to question. But if you don't want to be here, your mind not set on winning championship for the Lakers, you can go. Because a package of them three, I should make a whole bunch of drafts.
You know what's interesting though about LeBron? LeBron came out and said that he was going to stay with the Lakers. He was going to finish his career with the Lakers. But then he talks out of both sides of his mouth because then he said, well, I'm also going to go play wherever my son plays. So I think Bron is going to stay with the Lakers until his son comes in the league. And then I think he's going to try to bounce ship to whoever brings on his son.
If I'm the Lakers, I will examine this roster, examine the future, who I can get in. And if I can't get in, I will consider.
So let me ask you, let's sum this up and let's make sure that we're clear on what you're saying here. So you're saying that Russ, AD, and LeBron need to be shipped out of town. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying
he's saying that Sacramento.
I just want to make sure that I'm clear as to
what I'm saying is if LeBron James, if you're not committed to the Lakers and winning championships, you got to go.
Hey, he's basically saying that the Sacramento Kings are better than the Lakers.
Right, you want them all out of town. That's what you said.
No, I'm not saying what I'm saying.
Just in theory, if that was to happen, have we ever had a season where an NBA roster completely turned over? Because if you get rid of them three, you give it to everybody.
Yeah, it's a whole new Lakers.
And then now I'm going to go down Jeannie bus lane real quick. And I love Jeannie. I really just sweet. I love her. Jeannie, you gotta get control back of your company, your organization. And the one thing that I'm scared, y'all. One thing I'm scared is because there's only one person she went to make moves, and that was Kobe. When she wanted her brother gone, who did she go to? Kobe. There's certain things she got to Kobe.
She brought in Magic and Pelinka.
Yeah, but she did. And who was Pelinka? Nobody. I mean, he was an agent, but who was the voice behind Pelinka? It was Kobe. And I believe Kobe was doing a lot more things behind doors than people know.
But I think that goes back to Jay's question then. Then do you think that Pelinka...
And that's where I'm about to go here. Jeannie got to let one person do the job. There's rumors that Linda Rambis, Kurt Rambis has helped running the office. She still talked to Magic Johnson. There's too many voices in that front office. Then you listen to LeBron, you listen to AD. That's why I say she got to get rid of all these voices and bring it to her and Rob. Them two create a game plan. Now, I will give Rob credit. He had other deals. He had Buddy Hield. There was rumors that they could have got a DeMar DeRozan on a low deal. But what saves Rob is this is LeBron bringing Russell Westbrook. Rob and Lincoln's problem is listening to LeBron. But
Let
you
me ask
in
a
a
question, Freddie, because
situation.
when is Westbrook's contract over?
I'm gonna say one last thing.
Next year.
Is it next year his contract is done?
Next
So they got one more year with him.
I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna be done. And when you're in a situation where LeBron said, "Hey, I want this," you're damn if you do, and you damn if you don't in this situation, because if you tell him no, he's gonna start pouting.
We're seeing it already.
So, I mean, hey.
But I think you make a good point about the voices, but I think it's almost a necessity because Jenny Buss needs those voices to help her make her decision, because I don't think she has the knowledge in terms of she knows the business side of basketball, but she doesn't know the basketball side of basketball. So I think she relies on those voices. And the
Kenny,
other part is, I don't know what Kurt Rambis and Linda Rambis, I don't know what they have done to earn this place.
I don't remember when they came in.
Yeah, I don't get like that. To me, that would be the first thing that I would do. Like Linda Rambis and Kurt Rambis, get them out of here. Because there's like you said, there's too many voices, too many, and you got to have a singular voice and someone that's going to be the figurehead, and it's going to be the spokesperson, and it's going to make the ultimate decision. So you can't have all these. It's too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Kenny, one thing I would do this summer? I would do this, and I would sit him down and say, "We need to talk. I need you back. I'm going across the street. I'm getting Jerry West back. I don't know what beef they got going on. I don't know what it is, but it's something there." And hey,
yeah, I don't know even if you do have that conversation,
why would he leave?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think Jerry wants that. I don't think he wants that day to day. I don't think he wants that responsibility.
But do what you're doing with the Clippers.
He's just a consultant.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he got a lot to do with the move.
I mean, he has a voice, but I'm saying in terms of the day to day and being in the office and things like that, I don't think he wants that kind of responsibility.
Well, I think if you need a voice, she need a voice to listen to. He'll be a great voice to listen to.
It don't get no better in terms of player evaluation and running
the way
they
did him dirty, taking the seats away. I understand he with the Clippers, but this man is the logo. Like he won the championship. He lived with Kobe and Shaq. This is the logo. Make that right, Jeannie. Make it right. I don't know what the beef is. There's something. Get it right.
I think that was Jim, though. I don't think that was her. I think
but Jim recently they took his seat away recently, though.
Oh no, but I'm saying in terms of why they got him out of there because Jim wanted to have more of a voice in terms of the basketball operation. So I think that's why they got him out of there, and that we see how that turned out.
All bad. Well, it's been an unfortunate destruction and collapse by the Lakers this year. It's been hard to watch at times. I'm not going to lie to you. It hasn't really hurt my soul. What hurts me is seeing Freddie hurt. Freddie, seeing you in this low, sunken place. I don't know if you found any other celebrities down there. We hope to have you back, maybe around football season when your new team may or may not come back with who knows what roster.
But Ray, I will say this, though. One thing about the Lakers, we always retool.
Hey, Freddie, you know what you need, though? You need some pain. You need some fan pain. You need to go through some years of darkness.
I was about to say, you're not getting no sympathy from me. I'm a
Freddie needs some years of darkness to really understand what it feels like to be a true fan. And then we'll come back.
Spoiled Lakers fan.
I've been through darkness. Like I said, I watched this when we won 26 games, 29 games, 17 games.
You have Oh, please. You have way more ups than you had downs.
I'm not going to lie, y'all. I'm not going to lie. I love the championship we won in the bubble, but I kind of missed our young core. At least I can say at the end of the game, we got problems.
But you know what's interesting about the Lakers? The interesting thing about the Lakers is that they don't hold on to their natural talent. They draft all kinds of people, but they never really hold on. The Lakers build their franchise through free agency. I think that's why you guys go through so much severe ups and downs.
That was more, but that was on LeBron because that all happened when he came.
He traded all the young talent.
Exactly. They were building a young core of talent. And as soon as he got there, they traded it all away.
Well, yeah, but even no, they were doing it even before then, though. I mean, Pau Gasol wasn't a natural born guy. Shaq wasn't a natural born guy. Kobe wasn't a natural born guy.
I understand, but I'm saying
I'm just saying, like,
latest,
and of course, Ingram, Julius Randle, all the ones
that
that been before
like
that
version of the team, the Jordan Clarkson, the Julius Randle, the Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, all of those guys, they were all drafted.
Right.
And then they
but I think that's why the Lakers have the swings that they have, because it just depends on the free agency.
But I will say our scouting team is A1. I will say that.
No, you get the talent. You get talent, but
look at Hillbilly Kobe. Y'all see him?
Stop. All right. And with that, we are going to move to another collapse that I alluded to it. I think it was on this show when I talked about the All-Star game and Curry trying to get the record. And at that time, he didn't perform well. Legs got a little tired. Shot was a little short. And LeBron ended the game. So most recently,
he can't end that in the series.
I was gonna say he's ending the season with 7 turnovers in a game. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
that's why he ain't no GOAT.
Yeah, you ain't got to convince me of that.
Steph Curry's just a hell of a good player. I mean, he's a good player, but he's not a GOAT. You're right.
Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic. No, my bad. Kareem, Magic, and Shaq, then LeBron.
So, with that being said, we had a game recently where the Warriors and the Mavericks, were up 21 points at one point, and they end up losing the game a lot thanks to Spencer Dinwiddie from the Washington Wizards and Luka Doncic to really put the game away late. And we've seen some of this struggle out of Golden State all year. The record's 43-18, so the record's good. But we've seen these spells and these bouts, specifically when Steph goes out and there's no Clay. There was no Clay yesterday, no Draymond, no Wiseman. But as currently constructed and with so many people in and out of the roster, how far can the Warriors go? And do you make a lot out of that catastrophic collapse to Dallas? I'll start with you, Jay.
Well, I'll say this. One thing about the Warriors, is they're battle tested. Look, these guys got lots of championship experience. And so it is concerning when your best player, Steph Curry, has an issue shooting the 3 ball. I mean, he is making some turnovers, but, he had 27 points. I think he had like 10 assists against Dallas. I think that this team is, regular season-wise, they're a little rough right now, but they're going to be fine coming into the playoffs. The only thing that can stop the Golden State Warriors, the only thing that can hinder the Golden State Warriors is going to be injuries, honestly. And you're right, and I see your point, Ray, because if they can stay healthy, this team can go far because they had the experience to do so. But if they can't avoid the injury bugs, God knows if Klay Thompson decides he steps the wrong way and goes down, or Draymond, or whatever. I mean, it can go either way. But I think it's going to all depend on the injury bug, whether how far this Warriors team goes.
Okay, Kenny, what you got?
Yeah, I agree with Jay. I think it all, and honestly, I think that you want to get these things out of the way now. So, they say Draymond is pretty close to being back. Wiseman's supposed to be coming back relatively soon. So you want to get these pieces back in place, though. I think the key for them is to get these pieces back in place and be able to, play together and get some chemistry. But the other point that Jay made out that I totally agree with, the fact that they're battle tested, I don't think that this is going to be something that's going to, be anything long term. But I will say, I just looked at they're 5-5 in the last 10 games. So they've kind of been up and down, been on this kind of up and down thing over the last 10 games. So I think that the health is starting to catch up to them to a degree. So while they may take a minor step back, the fact that Phoenix is compromised as well, I think that helps them in a sense. So I think they may struggle some too. So I don't think they may help them hurt them in terms of their standings in the Western Conference. But I just think it's something where they just need to, get the pieces back and get everybody back healthy. But also, it's an opportunity for those younger guys, the Gary Payton seconds of the world, and the Jordan Pooles and the Toscano, as long as he's not dunking, of the world. For these guys to get an opportunity to get some experience as well, and be able to make some plays, because you're going to need those guys to be able to to step up and give some minutes to also alleviate some of the pressure on the Stephs, on the Clays, and on the Draymond, so they don't have to play as many minutes going down the stretch run.
Hey, quick question, and this is to Kenny. Hey, based on what you're saying, what I'm saying, do you think it would be prudent for Steve Kerr to do load management with his top 3 guys, knowing that they're a little older, they do have history with injury? Would it be better to rest them, like just alternate them out different games, so that way you can prolong or you can keep them fresh?
I think there may be some form of that, especially with Clay, because he's been out for so long. I think they're going to do some modified form of that, but I just think it's going to be one of those things where he's just going to be monitoring their minutes. I think he's going to try to make sure that he keeps, like Steph between 30 and 35 minutes. And then when Draymond comes back, they're going to they're going to ramp his minutes up. I'm sure they're going to kind of slowly integrate him back in once he comes back, as well as Wiseman. So it's going to really be on Steve Kerr to really manage these minutes and manage these guys to make sure they're as healthy as they could be, going into the playoffs. And to another guy that's going to be on as well is Steve Nash. He's going to have to do the same thing. Manage these guys' minutes to make sure that they're as healthy as possible going into the playoffs, and then integrate all of those new pieces in. So they're both kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
I just want to say this shows you how valuable Draymond Green is. A lot of people say, oh, he don't put up this many points. He don't shoot as much. He don't do it. But, man, this just shows you the definition of a player that makes a bigger impact than scoring the ball. He is this generation version of Dennis Rodman, of finding ways to be useful without scoring the ball. And then this team goes however far Draymond Green goes. He is the engine to this team.
Yeah.
We've seen it too many times. He goes out even though you had that young rookie, I can't think
Wiseman?
No, that power forward they got.
Kaminga?
Kaminga.
Oh, Kaminga,
Kaminga.
I forgot about him. Yeah,
one thing he's trying to learn. He's going. Hey, that dude. Hey, that dude. He's a good player for him. He's going to learn, and I think Draymond's gonna be in his ear. So hey, this is how you do this. Because Steph gonna be playing longer than Draymond, more than likely. In the NBA, but they gonna need him to take that next step. Because if Draymond is out for load management, or if he's missing some time or whatever, they need somebody to fill in his role. And those are big shoes to fill. He just made it easier for Steph, a lot easier. Exactly. And let's give some credit to Luka Magic. I mean, there's a lot of question mark around Luka. Oh, can he let the others help him? Can he trust his other guys? And by getting Spencer Dinwiddie, by finessing the franchise and the Washington Wizards, giving them the has-beens and the unicorn for Spencer Dinwiddie, a good, valuable point guard.
Hey, let's not act like Spencer Dinwiddie was lighting it up in Washington. Let's not get carried away.
But still, Washington is one of those franchises that's so dysfunctional, they didn't even know how to use them. But yesterday, he coming in there, knocking down a shot. He even hit a step-back 3. I said, oh, I see you. But, hey, credit to them. They put
Luka's playing. That dude's he's always playing well, though, man. Luka just plays.
Yeah,
man.
But he had a rough night last night. It wasn't he didn't shoot the ball.
I didn't see him score last night. How many points did he put up last night?
He ended up with like 30-some points, but a
lot of it was late.
Yeah, a lot of it was late. He's struggling at first, but hey, that's what great ones do. They show. Do you hear that, LeBron? That's what great ones do. When it matters most, they show up instead of passing up a 3 because you're getting the double team, or instead of attacking, you want to pass it to Melo.
Been doing that his whole career.
So, but anyway, that's a big time win for the Dallas Mavericks for sure.
So, given that the Suns have struggled a bit with the Chris Paul injury, the Warriors we just talked about have been struggling with their injuries. Philly has kind of an insurgence of energy. Brooklyn still has the Kyrie situation. And Freddie, I know you mentioned Kyrie potentially getting to play. There's a clause because of it being a private organization. So he would be able to attend the games, But even with the current switch on March 7th, he won't be able to play, but he can be in the building.
Stupid.
Well, that
Like,
okay, you can be in the building.
Like,
you just can't step on the court.
It's politics. I don't get it.
I don't get that either. That's
That
crazy.
part I don't. Now I'm gonna speak on that real quick.
Go ahead.
That's crazy.
When it first started, I was like, a rule's a rule, whatever. But if you're gonna lift the mandate and you're gonna say a player can go to the game, but he can't play in the game,
he can sit on the bench.
so the player can catch cold.
So I can sit on the bench and breathe on you.
So by us playing basketball,
That makes no
so
sense.
I don't need to go to the. I don't need to go to the gym. I don't need to go.
And you're lifting the mask mandate for indoor, but you could go, but he could play.
I don't need to go shoot no hoops because I'm gonna give y'all COVID. That's crazy.
You know the man. Look, we all know that if he can sit on the bench but not on the hard court, you know there's something wrong with that. There's definitely something wrong with that. That makes absolutely zero sense to anybody.
We agree.
That's crazy
on that. But given that and the constant influx in talent, I'm watching Memphis. I don't know if y'all saw John Moran. Might have just had the Player of the Year tonight.
Another one?
Woo, 46.
Absolutely amazing dunk. Everybody was talking about Joel Embiid for MVP. John Morant said, wait 1 minute. He's put up, I think, 40 in back-to-back games now.
Yeah.
But as that stands, top 3 NBA teams. Kenny, who you got?
And I was thinking about this, and this is hard, man, because it's so many questions. I'm gonna give the Miami Heat some props. You got to give them their credit because they've really been consistent this season, even dealing with the injuries and the in and out of the lineup, losing Bam, and et cetera. And so I'm gonna give them some love in terms of, and this is no order. I'm gonna give them some love. I'm gonna give Chicago some love. No, I'm not giving Chicago. I'll change my mind on that. Actually, I'm gonna give Memphis some love. I'm gonna give Memphis some love. Right now, the way that John Moran is playing, he's playing at an MVP level. I'm gonna give them a 2 just based off of right now, and in terms of teams, in terms of where they are health wise. So I'm gonna go Miami, Memphis, and my third team is. No, I'm not going. My third team, I'm gonna go Golden State. I think they're gonna figure it out. I think they're gonna get healthy, and but it's no conviction here. There's no conviction here because you got 2 or 3 other teams that you can put in this spot. So those are my 3: Miami, Memphis, and Golden State.
Okay, Freddie, who you got?
And this NBA, just next NBA period?
Mm-hmm. Top 3.
I'm going Brooklyn #1.
Did you watch the game
now?
Huh?
Did you watch the game tonight?
Oh, we're talking about now?
You talking about fully healthy and whole?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about right now?
Of what you believe they will event. Okay, we can go with that.
Oh, yeah. You could, yeah. Okay. That's your criteria. That's cool.
I'm going Brooklyn. Like I said, they are deep. They addressed all the questions that everybody had.
They said they might get DeAndre Jordan.
I know.
Why are you leaving in the first place?
Well, I will say this. I've seen a report that Philadelphia is expected to pick him up.
Okay.
But
DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did y'all see DeAndre Jordan last night? Anybody see that pass?
No, I heard about it though.
Hey kid, I got a question. Can you say what did you hear earlier in the year? You said was something dealing with health wise with DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, I heard. Well, I heard that he had some health issues that as to why he wasn't why he's not playing. Well, I should say there was some health issues that they thought that he wasn't going to continue playing, that he was going to be done altogether. So, but
that
like
probably
Aldridge health problems or something else.
No, this was DeAndre Jordan.
No, I'm saying, did he have like blood clots like LaMarcus Aldridge or?
Oh yeah, I don't know the exact. Yeah, I know it was something health wise, but I don't know the exact nature of it. But they were saying something that was.
But back to what I was saying,
impacting his ability to play.
Back to what I was saying. Brooklyn #1. They address all their problems. Okay. Defense. You picked up Ben Simmons. You got Andre Drummond in there. Size and rebound. You got Steph Curry. You got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. I mean, Dragic, Patty Mills, Joe Harris, DeMarcus Aldridge. I mean, they got help all around them. Number 2, I'm going with the 76ers. Like I said, there's pressure on James Harden. He has to deliver, and the pressure is it's rising. It's rising on him really hard. And number 3, man, I'm really thinking about number 3. That third one is like, whoo, because I want to throw somebody in the West, but I got another team in the East. I'm gonna get
all East.
I'm going all East, Kenny, and I'm gonna give them the respect that they deserve. I'm going with the champions. I'm going with the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm gonna tell you why.
I was thinking about.
I'm gonna tell you why. Yes, they're quiet under the radar. I think they're like a 3rd or 4th seed this year, But this team knows what it takes to win. They've been in this situation before. Losing PJ Tucker was a big loss. I definitely agree with that. But they have been in this situation before, and obviously I see in the comments, is Chris Paul playing? Is he healthy or is he hurt? I mean, will he be healthy in the playoffs? We don't know.
First of all, Freddie, let's keep it realistic. It's his finger. Nobody cares about a finger. Finger's going to heal up. It's not going to impact him one bit. If anything, it's actually going to help him because now when he does come back and that finger is fully rested, he's going to come back fully rested, ready to go, reinvigorated, and that's going to be a dangerous Chris Paul, brother. Better watch out.
True story.
We disagree on that.
As long as he's good I think as long as he's healthy for the playoffs, then they should be
exactly. And this actually ensures that he'll be healthy. To be honest with you,
I mean, he'll come back. He'll be trying to get in shape. He might pull a hamstring.
No, he's gonna stay in shape. He'll watch it. That finger don't keep him on the treadmill.
Hey, you know what?
He's gonna be on the treadmill. This ain't gonna stop him from running.
Ain't the same.
Yeah, we don't know that, but
it's not. But I'm just saying, it's not like
just like Anthony Davis.
Well, I mean, give him props that he knows how to take care of his body. He's a veteran. He's been in the league long enough. He knows how to take care of that body.
That's why it's always breaking down. But I got you, Jay. Who are your top 3?
Hey, my top 3, and of course, this is like Freddie's saying. This is with everybody healthy and not counting injuries going on right now. But I think Brooklyn, man, they only get Kyrie Irving if he plays on away games. They still don't get him for the home games. So that means they're going to have to win every single game on the road, plus one game. Plus one game at home. So they're going to have a tall task every time they play a series because they're number 8 seed. That's where they're going to be. So I'm telling you, they're going to have to. They're going to have to play perfect on the road and win one game at home in order for them to be able to advance. Because it still takes 4 games, so you got to be perfect there, and you got to be perfect. I don't know, man. I don't see them winning 2 games away without having Kyrie Irving there. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if Durant and Simmons and maybe Steph Curry. I don't know. We'll see. I just don't have the number 1 or number 2 or number 3.
My question is, Jay.
Yeah.
To pick up a Dragic and having Patty Mills, even if they got to go every other game with Kevin Durant, with Ben Simmons that you can put a point guard.
I mean, if you want to put that patchwork offense in there, I mean, I guess so. But I thought we were talking about the NBA, trying to get to the NBA Finals. Okay. Well, believe what you want. My personal 3 teams to answer Ray's question is Phoenix, I got Milwaukee, and I got Memphis. I think Memphis is that team that's going to wild it out. And I'm telling you, man, these dudes are ready to ball. And everybody knows one thing about Memphis. They got the culture to fight. I mean, you got a culture to fight, and you are all playing on the same accord. That's dangerous. And they're high flying and ready to go. And I think Phoenix is going to be that team to give them that. I think Golden State's going to be great, but I'm still not sold on them injury-wise. But that's why I got the top 3 that I got. Milwaukee, come on, man. We all know that. Look, regular season, Milwaukee, whatever. But you come in the post, I think it's going to be Milwaukee and the 76ers battling out in the East. And I think Milwaukee does pull that one out, though. But it's going to be rough because Embiid is really freaking good right now.
So that brings me to another question. And I'm just going to kind of do this rapid fire. So of the top teams we've talked, Brooklyn, Philly, I've heard Memphis. I think someone might have said maybe Phoenix. Of those teams, who has the best player? Ooh. Kenny, I'll start with you.
Man. Right now?
That's easy.
I mean, if everyone's healthy, out of all of the teams that we talked about, if everyone's healthy, then it's Kevin Durant.
Amen, brother.
But if we're talking about right now, then it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're talking about right now. But if we're talking about everybody healthy, it's KD. If it's right now, then it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That was a question, Ray.
Well, I disagree completely, but go ahead, Jay. Who would you got?
Yeah, I really like Durant. I mean, I think Durant is just, oh my God, when he's healthy. But I'm going to go a different direction. I think Embiid is right now with the 76ers. I just got him. I think Embiid is just playing on that level. I mean, he's got the inside game going. He's got his outside jump shot working. He's getting rebounds in the paint. I mean, he's doing everything at an exceptionally great level. And Jokic, I don't even want to overlook Joker either, because Joker, if you're looking at Joker's numbers are pretty good. He's 25, 13, and 8. So Joker, and he's shooting at 56%. Take that into consideration.
And MPJ and Murray could be back by the end of the year, by the playoffs.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's Ray, that's such a hard question because, like I said, there's so many people playing at such great levels. It's almost hard. But I guess I'm just going to give it to Embiid because right now he does have hard, but he's carried that team on his back so damn hard. I'm going to give it to Embiid this year, man. I am. But one last thing before I go. John Morant. I'm giving love to John Morant. This dude's ceiling is so stupidly high.
I'm telling you,
I was stupidly high. It's ridiculous.
I'm not going to lie. I was really thinking about of saying him, like the way he's playing right now is just. I mean,
it tears your heart out to give it one to the other because they're all playing at such great levels.
Plus, I just watched him bang it on that dude Podol, whatever his name is.
I think it was Pirtle that caught the body.
Oh my gosh, sheesh.
So I think we heard from Freddie. Freddie said Durant. So my top 3 it's kind of the same. I got Phoenix, I got Memphis, and I got Milwaukee. For my 3.
Hey, we got the same ones, Ray. I feel important.
Jay, I mean, you got it right. You've been listening to me. You've been on with me a lot. You're finally getting the knowledge that I'm putting down.
Hey, I am. I finally found your page. It was way in the back of my book that I didn't know about.
Player,
That's what I was about to say. Jay had it right now today, and I think Kevin Durant has escaped a lot of criticism for his late game performances because he did hit the shot against Milwaukee with his toe on the line. But there's been a lot of times with Russell Westbrook in past years and even in Brooklyn where he didn't get it done.
He hit in Golden State.
He did.
Right in LeBron's face.
He hit 2 big ones, huge ones. But there was still like a minute and some change left. They were big shots, but it wasn't a one-possession ball game to win it all. And the one player that I've seen, and he just took a bad fall, the one player I've seen that has consistently got whatever shot he wants and hits those shots late is John Moran. Yeah. And so for me, right now, today, I think he's playing the best basketball to anybody.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that either because it's such a hard one to go against.
Man.
His energy, his effort. The biggest criticism I have for him, and another reason why I didn't pick Giannis and they were kind of a wash, is free throw shooting. His free throw shooting is not dead eye. It's good, but it ain't great.
Oh, he still got work.
Durant, I have no problem with either one of them going to the line late. Giannis and Morant, I got some questions. But as it stands, and Giannis I think got like 15 boards tonight, 22 points. But if I got to take one right now, I'm taking John Morant.
Hey, Ray, question.
Yeah.
Charles Oakley came out and said Giannis couldn't compete in his era.
No, he
And
said
Giannis,
no. He
my
said
question is this, and I think Oakley's wrong. First of all, let's go. I think he's wrong.
No,
but my question is this, because based on that
that's not
theory,
what he said. Man. He said
no, that's what he said. Well, he did have a change of heart. He had a change of heart because he said about last year. He said this year he got a little bit better with his free throws and this and that. But his main point was that the Euro step wouldn't work, that he'd get his head knocked off. I think personally, me and Ray, I'm sure you probably think the same way. I'm guessing is that the players would transcend from this game to that game if that's what the game was. They would. I think everybody would just would gravitate that way. I don't think that any of these guys are any softer. I think they would just gravitate and change their game to fit the style of last year or that last era if they had to. Don't you think? I don't know.
I've heard this criticism. I've heard LeBron was too soft to play back then.
Right.
And I get it, but I think that's contingent on
at that point
how the league is. So like Jordan and Lambeer and those guys, and they was fighting and knocking people out the sky, they were conditioned in that, and I think they got used to it. It was a culture, the way the game was played. I've watched Steph get bulkier and bigger. I watched Ben Simmons get bulkier and bigger. I've watched Giannis's body change. I watched LeBron's body change. I think and Giannis to me for the last 5 years has been a physical player. When he goes to the basket, he just throws people out the way and dunks it.
But I think the part is that I don't think he would be able to dominate physically he wouldn't be as physically dominant in that area as he is in this era.
Yeah, and I think the reason why though it is because the game has gotten away from the low post. The traditional low post center isn't there anymore.
He's bringing the ball up the court. He's getting the rebound and he's going. Charles Oakley ain't stopping him from getting to the basket.
He's not discarding him. He's not Euroing him, dripping his shoulder and not.
It's still
my point
speed
is
and quickness though.
I understand, but I'm saying he's not getting to the basket, dipping his shoulder and discarding the guy, moving him out the way and dunking it on those guys of that era like he's doing it now. That's my point.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we disagree. I think Giannis is the wrong example. If you want to say Steph or Moran wouldn't finish at the rim the way they do now, Damian Lillard couldn't finish around the rim, Luka maybe couldn't get to his spots, I'll give those. I think Giannis's speed and ability, and he can get from like half court in 3 steps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the footwork of those big, bulky, plodding centers would do anything. Imagine Zydrunas Ilgauskas, who was an all-star, trying to guard.
Though, if you're talking about Karl Malone, if you're talking about Chris Webber, if you're talking about Tim Duncan, those guys were agile enough. Kevin Garnett, those guys are agile enough to be.
Kevin Garnett was getting put in a basket if Giannis is coming down the line.
Oh, stop it!
You know what I would love to see though? Hey, I would love to see Giannis go against Hakeem Olajuwon. That's what I would like.
A guy,
because I think that would be
guys like that. He's not going to be able to physically dominate them.
We disagree.
I just think Giannis, and I think the frame of Giannis and the frame of Hakeem is as such that would be a really good. And let's be honest, Hakeem Olajuwon started out in the early 80s. So he came up through that system of tough physical center play.
Hakeem Olajuwon cannot guard Giannis Antetokounmpo on the perimeter.
Really? I guess you didn't watch a lot. You might want to go watch Olajuwon a little bit more if that's the case.
He used to guard guards out of the perimeter.
No, that's okay.
Jaren is big and strong as Giannis.
He had the quickest feet.
Damn, you have it right. Yeah, we were on the same page.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, we were on the same page.
We disagree. What Giannis was he guarding when he was in the league?
What Giannis? Okay,
he's picking up guards on the pick and roll. Matter of fact, he switched out on John Starks and blocked that shot in game 6.
I do remember that.
Compared John Starks and Giannis.
But my point is that I'm talking about agility, speed, and quickness.
I'm talking about Giannis. Agility. I get that he can guard guards. That's cool.
Well, okay, but typically, that's why I said the game has changed, because back then centers didn't typically shoot the ball out there on the high post. But let me tell you something. But when Olajuwon went out there, if you watch the finals, when Olajuwon hit that 3-pointer in boy's face in New York, it was crazy. And he did again. He did also again in Orlando. So he's gone up against. Look, if he can go up against Shaq, Who the hell can he look? Shaq's
but
a
he
big
ain't stop
boy.
Shaq. Let's not confuse with the
No,
number.
no.
Shaq
What I'm saying is
But
he can
with the
take
work
on the
on him.
big guys,
he
and he can
scored
also
offensively, but he ain't do nothing defensively.
But he also had the agility to deal with the David Robinson of
That's
the San
another
Antonio
guy.
Spurs.
That's another guy that was super agile. That Giannis
Super
is now
agile,
bullying
and he handled
at
it.
the basket.
All right. I'll take
But-
y'all word for it, but
So
I
yeah,
think
I
it's
just think
foolish.
that, you know,
I'm gonna take Ray back in the
I think
time
the bottom
capsule.
line- no, but I think the bottom line is that sometimes, you know, we fall in love with our errors, and then we think that our errors is the best, you know, best thing since sliced bread, and we don't.
I said that
look
many
down
times.
on the newer errors because
Yeah.
you know the way Giannis transformed his body, and like to Ray's point, with his agility, with his ability to be able to put it on the floor, he would be able to play in that game. He would be able to play in the 80s game because he's a
And that's
tough
what I'm
guy.
saying. Time is a hell of a thing because, like you said, Kenny, in one era and you get another era, the game, number one, is not the same. The players
adapt
built is not the same. The skill sets are not. I mean, everything is a lot different. But I do think, like you're saying, each era could transcend to fit the next era if they had to, if you gave them time and they grew up like that.
It's just
They
a
can
matter
do
of
it.
skill set and being able to adapt to the way the game is being played.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. We can move on from there. I got y'all. So right now, we've talked about Harden and Embiid. We've talked about Moran. We've talked about Giannis. We've talked about Steph. Chris Paul's currently out. Who do you guys have as the best NBA duo currently? I'll start with you, Jay.
The best. That's a good question. The best NBA duo right now. You know what? Just because I've seen flashes of it already, and I know these guys are veterans, and I know what their style plays, and that they can just avoid the injury bug. I think it's Harden and Embiid. I just do. The inside game of Embiid, but he can also go to the outside if he had to, and then the step back three and the isolation to penetrate that Harden can do, and the facilitation of Harden to get Embiid in those. I mean, oh my God, it's going to be if they stay healthy, it's going to be amazing to watch.
Okay, Kenny, what you got?
I mean, that one is, you know, of course, the one, the hot one right now. But I'm going to Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. I think that combination between the defensive versatility and the offensive versatility, I think that's one of the higher skill sets in terms of duos. And then I got one more that I'm going to give I'm giving honorable mention to, and you got to watch out for these guys, is John Moran and Jaren Jackson Jr. I think you got to watch out for those two guys because Jaren Jackson Jr. is really starting to come into his own, and we've seen what John Moran has been doing. So I think they got the potential to be a really special combo.
Okay. I'm going to lean right now with Katie and Kyrie. I think when those two get on the court and they can play together, especially with having some other people out there to spread the floor, I think that pick and roll is going to be problematic. I don't know what you do when they got Joe Harris and Patty Mills on the floor with them, and they're running that pick and roll. Like, I pray we get to see it because we didn't get to see Harden play with them. But those are my two. If I got to have two right now, those two are definitely where I'm going with my best duo. As it stands, we live in a society where, you know, everything's competition. We talked about different eras and different players. So we're going to bring that full circle here. So we have and we may make this kind of more common on the show, start, bench, cut. And so we're going to cross over eras, mainly at the quote-unquote point guard position or the guard position. And we got Allen Iverson, Magic Johnson, and Steph Curry. Who would you start? Who would you bench? And who would you cut? So for me, if I was starting a franchise, I'm going to, and this hurts me to say this, and I actually kind of spoke a bit against it. But if I'm going to start and I don't have to rely on this guy necessarily at the end of games, I'm starting with Steph. I am going to bench AI, and I'm cutting
what?
I am cutting Magic Johnson, and I know I get it. I completely understand. This could be I completely embrace that this could be an error.
Please.
This could be an error thing, but I'm looking at how the game is I'm basing off of how the game is played today. And how the game is played today, I think a point guard that's an average shooter that can't really spread the floor isn't necessarily the best at getting his own shot. That's the guy I got to let go. AI, we know what AI did. He led a team to the finals by himself. He even won a game. The Lakers could have went 16-0 that season, but he got a game off of him. Steph is Steph. I've seen what he not only does for himself, his ability to get his shot, but what he does for that offense. And so when I look at Magic, none of them were great defensively of these three. But I just think in today's NBA, he's the odd man out. Jay, what you got?
God, that's such a hard one because I love Matt. No, I'm starting Magic. I don't give a damn. I'm starting Magic. I ain't no way I'm not starting Magic. The real question is
real quick. So here's part of my. This is also part of my premise in this.
Okay.
And I'll let you guys, y'all. I believe y'all are both older than me. When did Magic play on a team without significant talent, and how well did they perform?
Oh damn! Now we're going to the talent level. I thought we were talking about the individual players. How do we bring teams on? That's another rabbit hole, Ray.
Like in Game 7, and
that's a whole lot of rabbit holes.
Play center and point guard, and
I'm saying to carry a team for a year. I've seen what Steph can do. He led a team to the best record, and that granted was a really good team, but the best record of all time. I've seen what AI did. From my recollection, Magic has always played with a multitude of Hall of Famers.
Magic won a title as a rookie. Hold on. Magic won a title as a rookie. Hey, Magic won a title as a rookie, and he was a very integral part of that. You know how hard it is coming as a rookie and then get a title right off the rip, and you're playing in LA, and you're doing under all that pressure? That's a lot to ask, Ray. From a guy who just came out of college.
I tell you, when you got a bunch of Hall of Fame veterans, it makes it a whole lot easier.
Nobody's saying that it doesn't make it a little easier, but there's still
got to have talent
to perform. You still got to perform.
I agree.
Ain't too many teams, ain't too many champions that haven't won without talent.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when have we seen Magic have to do it?
Fair enough.
I don't know. I guess it's unfortunate that Allen Iverson
without talent. Like
Steph did it last year. He got him to a play-in, and that team was awful.
I think if we look at the numbers in terms of what they contributed, you're going to find that Magic's numbers are better than Steph's. Just first off the rip.
Whoa!
Second off the rip is that Magic got a title. I'd be damned if who he's playing with. The man still got to go out there and perform at a high level, at the highest levels. And you're the guy facilitating the rock. Yeah. And you got to be able to go out there and perform.
It's not super difficult to throw the ball to Cream, but I hear you.
And then in today's NBA, where you can't
put some respect out there.
Yeah, and today's NBA where you can't hand check, you think Magic wouldn't be and the wide open game.
Man, it's hard to get.
And you can't back anybody. You can't back nobody down for 5 seconds either.
You didn't even have to. It would only take 2 dribbles. You can't hold. It only takes him 2 dribbles to get in the lane. He's 6'9", so you don't even have to. In today's NBA, so I'm gonna give mine real quick because
I didn't mean to cut you off, but you did start Magic. But go ahead, Kenny. We'll go finish up with you.
Finish?
No, he just started Magic. Who you cutting? AI or Steph?
I'm sorry. You said you started Magic. Who was your other two?
No, it's all good, man. I mean, I had Magic Johnson, and then the one that was hard for me was whether do I cut Steph or do I cut AI, just because I know what AI is capable of. But if I'm looking at, and I don't, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I swear to life me, I'm having a hard time. Was Steph a point guard or a shooting guard? What was he labeled as?
He's a point guard.
Labeled as a point guard.
Okay, was he labeled as a point? Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm going to give it to Steph because Steph had a hell of a good shot, but he can also go to the rim. So I'm not going to take that away from Steph. So I'm going to keep it legit. I'm going Magic, Steph, and AI.
I got the same. Magic in terms of him being the ultimate leader. Steph, because of his offensive ability and how he's able to impact the game in terms of spacing the floor with his shooting ability, I think AI is the hardest out of the three to play with because AI is going to take the majority of the shots. The offense is going to run through him. So out of the three, I think he's the hardest to play with. While he's probably the toughest, and he's definitely the toughest out of the three, and the most feared out of the three. I gotta cut him because if I'm starting the franchise, I'm starting with Magic. To me, he's the ultimate leader. And then if I got somebody coming off the bench in terms of in terms of somebody that's gonna come off the bench and be an instant offense guy, that's gonna be best suited for that role, I think it's gonna be Steph Curry. And then I gotta cut AI as much as Achilles he is.
So I think what kills AI is just his shooting range. His shooting range really hurts him because it really makes him more one-dimensional on the offensive side.
I don't know if it's so much his shooting range, but I think it's his efficiency.
Yeah, right. Okay, efficiency. Yeah, exactly.
He's such a volume scorer, and he needs the ball so much.
It's like a Russell, where you need a lot of shots to get your points.
I think it's harder. It's harder to play with him as opposed to those other two guys. Yeah. To me, the other two guys make the game easier for you to play with, and it's a little harder to play with AI.
Yeah. Wow. That hurts my heart to hear that. I think it was easy for Magic to be efficient when he had a lot of other help. And I think AI would be a lot more efficient if he played in Golden State and he wasn't seeing double teams all the time. But
I think you have to. I think that's part of it was that you didn't put the talent around AI because he wasn't sharing the ball.
I don't know, because when he went to Denver, he fit in relatively well. I think they went to the Western Conference Finals when he had Chauncey and Melo and them. So I think when he had reasonable talent, and granted that was a different level of AI, but I think with the right coach and the right system, I just think they put nothing around him.
But when you talk about shooting efficiency, like Kenny's talking about, in that particular realm, I could say that, Westbrook and him are in the same category in terms of shooting proficiency. And you can see how well Westbrook's working out.
I mean, Westbrook's won quite a few
but
MVPs
and Ray, you know what I'm talking about, Ray. They get any titles?
But I think that I agree. I would be very curious, and I know I keep going back to this. If you put Magic on that Philly team that went to the finals, what is his shooting efficiency? Like, I don't think he's never had to beat a guy that volume shot because he didn't have talent around him. So I think he was great at what he did. But in today's NBA, where you would have to put up points, I don't think Magic is super efficient. He couldn't really shoot the three with any kind of consistency.
Oh no, he would have definitely. Well, he definitely would have, especially in this open court game. He would have thrived in this open court game. So he would have still been efficient because most of his points would have come off of layups.
Yeah, but that's assuming he's playing again with that talent. I think if you put him in a worse situation, I wish we would have got a chance to see him play with the Michael Jordan Wizards or the AI Sixers or the Houston Harden Rockets. Like, in that kind of environment, I think he would have looked different, and we didn't get a chance to see that.
I understand, but
we saw what Mike was.
I would count it too because of Magic's passing ability. All of the attention that he would get guys open looks. So as long as he had guys that can knock down shots, those guys would eat.
Fair enough. Yeah. And just a quick update for y'all: John Morant has 52 tonight.
Good 52. God. Man, he is just lighting it up.
And Damian, you got to stop. AI is not 10 times better than Steph and Magic. Knock it off.
Fair enough. Before we get ready to get out of here, I know we touched on it, I think Friday, but as I would say, the situation in New York continues to spiral in the wrong direction. I don't understand why. I look at that team. I've seen RJ Barrett, who's turning out to be a better pro than I thought he would be. He's been playing well. Julius Randle's been playing pretty decent as well. Mitchell Robinson, I think we touched on it. His dad was found I don't know
good.
if it was this show or the Friday show, but they did find his dad. He fits his role. He fits his role pretty well. Taj Gibson fits his role pretty well. He's played decent. Quigley comes in. He can play. But the team is just trash. And especially in close games down the stretch, they just fumble it away consistently. And we saw the back and forth that's happened with Kemba Walker. Obviously, most people feel like the team should be sold. Dolan doesn't know what he's doing. The front office, there's been some question marks there on some of the decisions they've made. The inability to get free agents to come sign there, big-time free agents. At this point, with the way they're performing, do they need to fire Tibbs? And what is the fix for the Knicks? And I'll start with you, Kenny.
I'm not sure. I think it's hard.
Just for context, they're 1 of 9 in their last 10.
Yeah, they're playing really bad. There's no sugarcoating it. But I think it's tough to, fire if you can't go from being the coach of the year, making the playoffs, and then you fire him the next year. Like that would be kind of tough to do, I think, if you're the Knicks. But I will say this: I think that Tom Thibodeau really has to take a look at his coaching style. One, in terms of on the offensive side, I think he needs to hire like an offensive coordinator, somebody that's a really offensive guru, because we know that his specialty is on the defensive side of the ball. Like, I'm a Knicks fan, so I'll watch the games, and they have no offensive identity. I think that's the biggest problem right now. They have no offensive identity. You don't have the point guard to be able to really get guys open shots. Like, everybody has to make plays for themselves. Julius Randle has to make plays for himself. RJ Barrett has to make plays for himself. And I think that's part of the problem, is that they don't have an offensive identity. You got Evan Fournier taking step back threes and things of that nature. So it's just they just struggle offensively to get easy looks. Everything is either isolation or some one-on-one play. They don't get any sets to where they get action to where guys get open shots. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think they thought that Kemba Walker was going to be able to bring that. And I think, his knee issues or whatever, just being in and out of the lineup, like it's just been a problem. So I think that's one thing that in order for Thibodeau to come back, if I'm Leon Rose, if I'm World Wide West, I'm telling him, like, if you want to come back next season and be the coach, like, you got to hire an offensive coach. You got to hire an offensive assistant to help you with the offensive side of the ball. And I think it's just one of them things also. But the other part of it is that you got a lot of pieces or a lot of guys that kind of play the same position. You got a Quickly and Burks, who are kind of like combo guards. You got RJ Barrett, who's like a swing guy. You got Cam Reddish, who's like a swing guy. You got Evan Fournier, who's like a swing guy. So you got a lot of guys that kind of play the same role. So I think it's kind of hard for them to really get –
it's overcrowded.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they're going to have to really take a look at that roster and maybe make a deal, because you got a bunch of twos, a bunch of second option guys, but you don't have that number one option guy. So I think they're going to have to package some of these guys together, kind of similar to what the Lakers did. And you got to bring in like a marquee. You got to try to make a trade for a number one option. Whether it's Damian Lillard, I don't know if it's Damian Lillard or somebody of that ilk or somebody of that skill set. That's what you got to do in order to really improve the Knicks. But I don't think necessarily they have to fire Tibbs. They just got to make some serious adjustments.
So I disagree. I think we've seen that Tibbs needs a certain type of player. He needs the Jimmy Butlers, the Derrick Roses. But I think the problem with that is, similar to Toronto, and he doesn't get as much, I guess, flack for it, he plays his starters hard.
For sure.
And I don't know if in today's NBA that's a recipe for disaster or for success, especially when you have some older talent. I don't think that's sustainable in an 82-game grind season. And when you don't have the talent, that means you're not going to have a bunch of blowouts where you can rest your starters. So I just don't know that. And they're not great defensively either.
That's the other part, yeah.
So you got a defensive coach with an offensive team, because Julius Randle don't be trying to play no defense. Evan Fournier, no defense.
Yep.
Quigley, no defense.
Yep.
RJ Barrett, no defense. So I think when you got a defensive coach with a bunch of players that don't play defense, but you're not putting them in position to be successful offensively. I watch a lot of their games, and there's not a great offensive flow. It's a lot of one-on-one or Julius Randle facilitating the offense. I don't know that that's his best role or he's that great at it. I think Julius Randle is similar to Brandon Ingram, and I think he should be number 3. I think he'd be a phenomenal number 3, but as the 1 or the 2, I don't think you're going anywhere with that. So I think similar to LA, I think they need to blow it all up, and I think the coaches will probably be casualties of the blow up. I think the difference between the two is LA's LA and New York's New York. So when it comes to free agency, I think they're going to have to trade. They're going to have to do something with Julius Randle, and they really need to make sure that they can parlay that into something, because I don't see why anyone would want to go there, especially with the way that they've treated some of the legends there, some of the issues that Spike Lee has had. I don't think people are beating down the door, and we keep seeing the Nets sign a ton of veteran players to come play. So you're competing with that. That's in the same city.
100%.
And Philly's not that far down the road either. So, and Boston's not too far up the road. So if you're the Knicks and people are coming in that area, why would we want to go there? So I definitely think they got something to look at. And as a player, especially if I'm a veteran player, do I want to be grinded into the ground the rest of my career, playing for that coach and playing for that owner? I probably would opt not to do that. So I think there's a problem there. I think they got to fix it. I think Julius Randle is an important piece. You'll probably have to lose, whether it be Barrett, Reddish, or maybe some if you can package Fournier, but you got to move that big deal off the books and try and bring something back. I think Zion's the safest answer. He might pull a James Harden and take his suit off once he gets traded and lose all that weight, but I don't know. I think they got a long way to go. Jay, what you got?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying about Zion, but at the same time, I think if you try to bring on Zion, you're just trading one set of problems for another.
Right.
Here's the deal. I really think the issue with the Nets. The issue with the Knicks is, I think it's upper level. I think they're not on the same page because basically to Ray's point, you got a defensive-minded coach, but you have an offensive-minded team. So you can obviously see that that's not going to work. So if you do blow it up, you have to figure out, okay, what's more important to you? You know what I'm saying? Because if you're obviously deep, we all know defense wins championships. We all know that. You got to have a good defense if you want to do something. So I don't think that necessarily getting rid of Tibbs is the right answer because, like you said, he got Coach of the Year. He did great with Chicago. He did great in Minnesota. Tibbs is a good coach, but you got to put the right roster around Tibbs. And so, yeah, you're right. They're going to have to look at this roster. They're going to have to look at their center position because their center position, quite frankly, sucks. And they don't have, like you said, a really good point guard to facilitate, to put Randall and Fournier and all these guys in the right spot. So I think you're right. They don't have a number one. They don't have a big man down in the paint. They got a lot of issues. And they're like Ray said, they're an offensive-minded team with a defensive-minded coach. So you're looking at a lot of weird off-the-page stuff. So this upper-level management has to really sit down, bring Tibbs into the fold, and be like, hey, look, this year didn't work out. It just didn't. Tibbs, I know you're Coach of the Year, so obviously, and I know you know what you're doing. What do you need? What is it that this roster didn't give you? And I'm pretty sure Tibbs is going to speak up and say a lot of things. But at some point, Tibbs, I think he's a good coach. I think he stays. I think he's got the wrong roster with the right coach.
But I think to your point, though, is that you have to adjust to your roster. That's what makes
you're right. That's true.
What makes the good coaches the great coaches that they're.
That's true. That's a good point.
So.
That's a good point. So maybe you put 50% Tibbs, 50% the players, but I still put 100%. I still put 100% on the upper level management to figure this piece out.
You make a great point though in terms of the upper management, because if you constructed this roster like you said with the offensive, you upgraded the offensive talent, because we saw last year the problem was that they couldn't score. So you bring in the Evan Fournier, you bring in the Kemba Walker. You bring these guys in thinking that it's going to up or you're going to have more offensive scoring weapons. And then the defense goes down. So It's one of those things to where both things didn't, you address one issue and then you weaken the other issue. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's one of those things to where the and that's the upper management part, is that they brought in these offensive guys to a guy that that's known for defense. So I think it was one of those things where they thought that he maybe was going to adjust his coaching style to the talent, and I don't think that he has.
Let me ask you a question, though. This team last year, for the most part, was the same team, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't like they lost a whole lot. Then they gained Kemba Walker, but
no, they added some pieces. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you add a Fournier, who's more of an offensive player than the defensive player.
Right. They're like the same person.
Yeah, you add a Kemba Walker, who's more of an offensive player than the defensive player. Derrick Rose, you brought him in the second half of last year. He's another guy who's more of an offensive player than he is a defensive player.
Right.
So
right.
I just think it's just one of them things to where I think they wanted to upgrade the offensive talent on the team, but they didn't, take into consideration the fact that Thibodeau is the defensive coach, and they did not bring any defensive talent to go along with that, because you got, like you said, that 5 position is just a dunker. Either if they don't catch a lob, then they're useless. Noel and Mitchell Robinson, if they're not catching a lob, they're useless offensively.
So is it time then to burn up the players, or at least the players that will get the picks, and then reformulate?
You got to do something. You got to do something. You got to do something to bring in, to Ray's point. You got to do something either in a deal or a free agency to bring in a number 1 scoring option. Like, we haven't had a number 1 scoring option since Melo.
That's true.
You got to bring in a number 1 scoring option to help offset this talent. Because, like, again, you got a bunch of 2s and 3s. Guys that either should be second options or third options. You don't have another option. You just got a bunch of 2s and 3s, and it's just not fitting.
That's valid. Well, speaking of teams that are dealing with, potential roster problems and figuring out how that's going to go, we're going to pivot just for a minute to the NFL. And someone brought up Aaron Rodgers earlier. I think it might have been Freddie, and talked about how great of a regular season quarterback he is.
That was me.
Oh, was it? Thank you for that, because now we have to talk about Aaron Rodgers, the off-season quarterback. And as if we are watching the Brett Favre Bachelor 2.0, we have no idea when Aaron Rodgers will make a decision. He keeps saying it's coming soon, and day by day, we don't hear anything. Different reports are leaking out, and I'm over it. Just pick somewhere, like, make a decision, move on. I think we have the draft is in like a month, maybe, or is it a little over a month? Is it April?
It's right about a month. Yeah, we're about a month or so. About a month and maybe a month and a week or so.
Combine is coming.
So, and we didn't even. I don't think we really talked about the combine in here, but we saw the power of the players, and they got that bubble idea up out of here. But with the Rodgers situation, Jay, when do you think we get a definitive direction? And where do you think he's going to end up?
God, that's a good. Yeah, with Aaron Rodgers, it's just like watching Brett Favre, man, and waiting for him to make his damn decision. And they drag it out. And I think Aaron was really pissed off about the whole Jordan Love thing, man. It never set right with him. So I'm almost kind of wondering if he's waiting to see what the Green Bay Packers do at the draft before he makes his decision, to see if this is really something he wants to invest in, because he knows he needs another option at wideout. He's got to put somebody opposite of Devontae Adams. And I think I think
they got to decide what they're going to do with Adams too.
And that's right. And I'm pretty sure they're going to want to franchise him, but can they? There's a lot of questions in Green Bay. So I think we get an answer after All-Star. I think it's going to come after All-Star. Who does he go to? I don't. If Green Bay does not put some offensive weapons to help him out, I think he's gone. Now where he goes, man, I don't know, man. I think if I were him, and I know they got the cap space to afford what he's looking. The man wants $50 million. He ain't gonna get $50 million. Nobody gonna give that man $50 million. But I think he's gonna go where they're gonna give him the most, and I think where he goes, who could give him the most would be Miami, and Miami's got a plethora of weapons, and Miami, I think, is still not 100% sold on Tua. But I think either Miami would be a spot for him, or I think Pittsburgh would be a spot for him, because I don't think Pittsburgh is sold on Mason Rudolph, and nobody saw Mason Rudolph because he still hasn't come back from that concussion, that freaking what's-his-face Gilbert over there. They Gilbert put on him with that helmet, so I don't think they really trust him fully. So I think Pittsburgh or Miami. I think Miami though, only because of how much cap they can afford to blow on him. And if they do get Aaron Rodgers and they don't franchise Devontae Adams, I wouldn't be surprised if they use the other part of that cap to bring in Devontae Adams.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think he's just going to drag it out as long as possible.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate narcissist in this. And I think,
he loves that attention.
Tom Brady stole some of his shine.
Yeah.
By retiring early. So I think he was going to make a quick decision. And then when Tom Brady stole his shine, he said, no, I got to drag this out just to make sure that I get my time in the spotlight. You're not going to steal my spotlight. But I think ultimately, and I said this last year, I thought last year was the last season that he's playing with Green Bay. So he played another year, but I think this is it. Like, I think he's out of here. And I'm gonna add one more team to the equation. I like Miami and Pittsburgh, but I think San Francisco is another option as well.
Debo.
Yeah, I think that's another place that you got to look at as well, because they're kind of in win now mode. I don't think Denver. I'm not really sold on Denver as a destination because I think they still need some more pieces in it. They're kind of young, and he's in win now mode. So I think he goes somewhere where he thinks he can win as fast as possible. So I think San Francisco is another team that you got to think about, but I don't think he's coming back to Green Bay.
Man, and if you're Trey Lance and he comes to San Francisco, you're probably sitting there saying like, "Son of a."
And he'd be like, and Aaron Rodgers would come in and be like, "Hey, bro. I had to deal with the same thing with Brett Favre. It is what it is, my man."
He said to apply for the alternates.
Like, hey, man, I went through this, so it's just your turn, my guy.
Man.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting where we find us, just quarterbacks in general. Like Russell Wilson's been quiet, but there's been rumblings there. Yeah. Kyler Murray's situation turned into a fiasco of back and forth. Now he says he's in. Aaron Rodgers is, the Aaron Rodgers situation.
He's another guy that wants his money.
Who?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah. And he said he should be paid like the top tier. I didn't say it before, and I'll say it again.
I knew you was gonna jump on that,
bro. That money is earned. Lamar Jackson got an MVP. Pat Mahomes got an MVP. Aaron Rodgers got MVP. Tom Brady is like
Jackson for that type of money.
Like Russell Wilson has led his team to a Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl. What have you done?
Yeah.
Like, what top tier money are you looking for?
And then the last time we saw you on the field, like, you totally spit the bit. Like,
the only person that didn't, and Damian mentioned it, was Dak. And that's just because Dallas is so atrocious that they thought they saw the light of day, that they overpaid him. Jerry said it. You overpaid. So
no, I'm not saying that. They definitely overpaid for Dak. No doubt about it.
That's why he's getting. That's why Aaron Rodgers wants.
I wouldn't say we're atrocious. We're just not good enough to win the playoffs. Atrocious like the Jets or Detroit. We're just not good.
For what it's worth, if Kyler Murray wants to get paid, he should probably force a trade to Dallas. But you got to look. Dallas has overpaid Dak. The way it looks, you overpaid Zeke. You overpaid DeMarcus Lawrence. You've overpaid Amari Cooper. So if you want to get a payday, go to Dallas. They're the new Washington.
He said the same. All Dak did was set the market. It's going to get reset again with Lamar Jackson. So all he did was set the.
And I would compare us more with the Yankees. We spent a lot of money and we just haven't got the return. Look at the Yankees. They haven't won a pennant in 25 years, but yet they got a $107 million payroll. We're probably more like the Yankees, to be honest with you. We spent a lot of money, but we just haven't got the bang for our buck.
Damian, I have the same feelings about Ben Simmons. If you don't want your team or your teammates to talk bad about you, play better.
Exactly.
Like this is simple. These athletes, these millionaire athletes with these overly fragile egos, like the answer is simple: play better. When Russell Wilson started playing like dog crap, the second half of the year, they let him have it. Let Russ cook turn into stop cooking Russ. Like Ben Roethlisberger, all of these great. Aaron Rodgers is kind of going through it outside of Green Bay. Like if you don't want the reports coming out play better. Like, it's simple. Don't get mad. Baker Mayfield's another one. Jimmy G's another one. If you don't want people to Carson Wentz, all of them, if you don't want to be on the trading block, you don't want your name associated with trades, you don't want people talking about how bad you are and what team is winning in spite of you, just play better. Like, to me, it's simple. But to that point, Jay, do you believe teams owe it to these players, especially franchise quarterbacks, to coddle them in this way and keep their mouth shut, even when the quarterback's playing bad?
Yeah. I'm all about accountability, man. I'm all about accountability. I'm all about what you put on the field speaks for how much leverage I'm going to give you. If you're going out there and you're putting Tom Brady-like stuff up and we're winning ball games and, hey, we're doing our thing and you're the main reason for it, hey, do you, boo. Do you. Do you the best way you know how to do. I don't care, because at the end of the day, if I'm winning, I'm putting butts in the seats. And if I'm putting butts in the seats, I'm making money. And if I'm making money, the city is happy and we're all good. So when you're making money, nobody gives a crap. But when you're losing or you're not playing so good, I'm sorry, man. Listen, this is not the no cry league. Come on, you got to toughen up and take your lumps, because we're paying you an absorbent amount of money, and you need to suck it up. And Dak Prescott, I love my Cowboys like there's no tomorrow, but sometimes Dak pisses me off too, and Kyler Murray pisses me off when I watch him play sometimes. And Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry, you think you're 50? Good God, man, I might give you maybe 20, man. But what have you done for me lately?
And just to that point, I know I talked about the draft. Free agency actually starts March 16th.
Yeah, it does.
So teams got to make a decision.
Yeah. So if he really cares, though, and this is going to be a true test of Aaron Rodgers. If he's who he says, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he is who he says he is in terms of he's going to make a decision and he's not going to lead them out in the dark, he has to make a decision before free agency.
Before the draft, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, before free agency, absolutely.
You have to let them know so they know.
But he's not a stand-up guy like that, Kenny.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I mean. Like, this is going to tell you whether or not what he said was genuine or not.
Tomorrow's March 1st.
Was it 2 weeks?
So, their whole strategy would potentially have to change.
That's what I'm saying.
2 week time frame.
That's what I'm saying. So you got to,
because the team you build around Jordan Love is very different than the team you build around Aaron Rodgers.
For sure.
Like, so their free agency board, granted, they don't have a lot of money anyway, but they also would potentially restructure and change a lot of the deals they have.
Yeah.
If they know they're going into next year with Jordan Love.
If they're going with Jordan Love, you better fire the whole damn team and just start from scratch.
Oh, I agree.
Or start from scratch.
You look at, signing a veteran quarterback, and I keep hearing the name Mitchell Trubisky come up. I don't quite understand it.
I hear him in Washington.
I know
something about him in Washington.
I don't know why they're saying that.
Bring on Blaine Gabbert for Tampa Bay. Let's go, baby.
For the great time, replacing the great Taylor Heineke.
No, he's not an upgrade, and Taylor's still on a very cheap deal. So I don't get it, but we got some stuff coming up. The NBA is full of storylines. The Lakers continue to make me smile with their performances night in and night out. They frustrated Freddie so much he had to call it an early night. So send our thoughts and prayers to Freddie as he has to sit through these next 20 games. They might not win more than 5 more games this year. Like, it's atrocious. And what would be even worse is to get into the playoffs with that star-studded lineup and put up one of those performances. Let the Clippers knock them out without Kyrie, without Kawhi and Paul George.
Forget about it.
Like, that would just be poetic justice for all the things that we've seen them do right now. They would be scheduled to play the Clippers, actually, if the season ended today. Or the 10 seed is New Orleans, who just smacked them around. So and they don't want to fall to have to play Minnesota. So it ain't looking good. Fortunately for them, Portland and San Antonio are all trash. So they'll probably get to the play-in, but it's rough for them. But we would definitely keep you posted as games come up through this week. We may or may not get an Aaron Rodgers decision before the end of this week, but definitely tune in on Thursday. This has been Real Talk. It was a pleasure talking with you all. going through all the things we're done. Stay tuned. We got some great announcements here from ASAP Network. Everybody, have a good night.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're out in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, top